You can check out all the episodes of The Table of Truth on our website, www.tableoftruth.com. Welcome, everybody, to The Table of Truth. This is your man, Cam. With me, as always, is...
Yo. What up, guys? It's Dwayne Merchant.
This your other boy Cam Squared, aka Black Cam, Black Adam. What's good?
And we are The Table of Truth. We are back with another edition, talking a little bit of music, a little bit of sports, kind of try to stay away from all the crazy world news and just like be a little lighter today.
Yeah, man,
bro.
I've been
Florida's about to get blown off the map. Yeah.
Yeah, we could easily talk about all the current news and all the, basically we're all gonna die. We got about 16 years left, but
Yeah.
but instead, yeah, exactly. But instead, we're gonna talk music. So all of us listened to a couple new albums. We're gonna start off first with the new Lil Wayne album, Carter 5. I listened to it. It reminded me that I don't like Lil Wayne albums. I like singles. Not to mean I don't like Lil Wayne. Just like now I realize I'm like Carter 4 was good, but I wasn't like, I'm not a super huge fan, but I do like him on tracks. But I don't like a full album of him.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, he sounded good. Good production. Like, it sucks that Drake does Lil Wayne better than Lil Wayne does Lil Wayne. But what you gonna do?
I mean, I like the album, man. I mean, it's kind of hard to digest in one sitting, because it's 23 tracks.
Yeah, that was the other thing. Oof.
Yeah, I think when the Carter 4 came out, 2011?
Yeah, something like that.
So I feel like a lot of these songs he's probably sitting on, and they have to go back in the booth and work on the vocals. But I thought he released, to me, I think it's better than the Carter 4. I thought he released a solid album for being away that long. And it's actually English, unlike a lot of music that's being played today. And like there's sentences. So I think that's one of the reasons why I like it as well.
Just in the predicate.
Word.
Yeah, we had a discussion about this in an earlier side chat about Lil Wayne's place in, like, as far as like a respected MC. And you may not be a fan of Lil Wayne, or you may have been like a casual fan when he was with the Cash Money crew, and you like, because when we were in college, I was like, yo, Wayne got skills, because I was a fan of Juvenile. Them dudes, even though I was like more East Coast biased, I respected that movement they was doing, and Lil Wayne always stood out to me. But he evolved, and then there was a time where Lil Wayne was like considered one of the best at it, and it was during his excuse me, quote unquote mixtape era days, right?
Yeah, he did. There was I think, what day was it? What year? There was a year where he was on something like a record of like 30 or 40 tracks that all were on the Billboard 200.
He was on his Pac stuff. Like, he was dropping an album like every 2 weeks or something.
Yeah, they're saying like, there was like, I forgot what year it was, but it was maybe like 2013 or something. But he had so many guest appearances, and they were all like top 200 Billboard songs. And like they had no album, just mixtapes, and then just did features all day, and it was just like everywhere.
What's crazy? When I listened to this last Lil Wayne, I mean, I've never bought a Lil Wayne album, but I've always liked him when he was on Gangsta Grillz albums and stuff like that. And I was like, always thought he was dope. Got into skating. I feel like that's something that I appreciate, because he was in the news for a lot of other stuff outside of music, and it was almost kind of scary. We was like, we don't know where he was gonna go, what direction he was heading, but he finally kind of found some focus. Listening to this new album, and it sounds like he's sober. That makes any sense?
Yeah, what's the weird thing? Like, before the Carter 4 came out, before he went to jail in New York for that gun charge, that's when he was releasing his best material. And then when he came out, then he had to be sober. And like, because you got your parole officer checking in, you're gonna get those random drug tests. Mm-hmm. So like after that, like he fell off, because I think the drugs was fueling his creativity and helping him a lot. So like I kind of backed off Lil Wayne. I'm like, this dude's like releasing like he was on songs. I'm just like, yo, what are you saying now? But I think now he's able to like live sober. even if he's not sober, but he has like a balance now where he's back to maybe not back to the top of his game, but at least he's respectable and he he definitely put out a solid album. So
Yeah, I mean that was kind of like Gucci Mane, how he was always drunk through all of his albums, and then when he finally like went to jail, got sober, came out, started like put down the pork, picked up a a green juice, and started to eat better and stuff. And then he got to a good point where he could be creative without having drugs and alcohol, and it just took him a while to get to that point, So I think like Wayne's like kind of like in that similar boat where it's like it's like I said, it's a good thing. It's dope. Now I can be start being more creative. Doesn't have to be on lean or anything like that. Now it's more about like where is it going to take him and how he's going to evolve. Because I mean, he still has all the unfortunate label drama and all that other dumbness.
Yeah, it was wild that we look at Gucci Mane and Wayne, but then you look at a person like Kodak Black. He got hella fat.
Oh yeah,
he's a meme, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not a fan. It's just weird to see these dudes going opposite directions. Because I was just thinking, because I was like, Gucci Mane went from like sloppy to like he shaped up. He was cool.
Yeah, man. He's fit. Got a personal shape. He was like, I read one of his articles or one of his interviews. Like,
this ain't got nothing to do with music. It was just Kodak Black has just been in the trending topic, and they have a meme out where he's just standing there and somebody put the image of a microwave of food and he's looking at it, watching his food. Man, I was so weak. So
yeah, man.
Yeah, anyway. I want to get back to the Wayne album real quick. I want to say one of the songs that really stood out was the song Mess. And I feel like he should have started that album off with that song. It was a really good song. He was really breaking it down. And then like everybody was on the ToT collab. And I was like, all right, that's cool. But it didn't really hit me like it hit other people. You know what I'm saying? That song didn't stand out like the song Mess. And a few others. And I didn't expect it to be as this long. And I think the thing about Wayne's album, and I agree when I listened to another podcast about it, that the sound, the music sounds a little dated.
Yeah, which is crazy because it has the same similar producer rotation that's popular right now. So it's like we're already old. We've already been over it, but we're over that sound, even though that's literally a lot of his sound that kind of like permeated, But it's gotten so commonplace that now all the people that took it and ran with it, they've kind of took it to a certain different place already. So now when you hear like people that did it originally, it's always like, oh man, this is old already. I think that's
blame that song Uproar.
Yep.
Uproar. I'm like, wait, G-Dep? What is this?
Yeah, exactly. But that's usually what happens. It's like the people that it's not who invented it, it's who innovated it. And so people have already taken all the stuff that Wayne was already doing, and then now took it to all these different levels, good or bad. But it's like so when he comes and does it, they're like, oh, this kind of sounds dated. And you're like, no, actually, this is just original stuff. You guys are just so used to the toy stuff.
Yeah.
He had that one song where that always stood out to me. The beat has been used before, but he was like a doctor, and these dudes was whack, and he was trying to bring them back to life and give them.
Yeah. Dr. Carter.
That was pretty. That was pretty. That was one of my favorite songs that always stood out to me.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. He, like I said, he can rap, he can write. And that's just dope.
Yeah, go back and listen to the Carter 3. I played it like a month ago. It's an amazing album, man.
Okay, so what is the best Carter album?
For me, it's Carter 2. That's my favorite Carter album. Honestly, I mean, I would put Lil Wayne in my top 15 rappers of all time.
Nice.
It's funny you say that. We're gonna get to another topic.
Okay. No, wait, there's other albums that dropped too. What do you guys think about Logic's album?
I'll say this.
I know you like the Wu-Tang part, but
so a mutual friend of ours put me on a Logic and under that Sinatra moniker, and I respect Logic. Like he's really dope. But he's just one of those dudes that I would never buy his album. Like, even though I know he's one step away from me. Like, acknowledge, like I buy Talib Kweli album, but I don't buy all his albums. Like this last album he came out with is really dope. Not only for the Wu-Tang, but it's actually different it's a different sound from the rest of his album. Because I heard a couple of his other albums, and it's like dope. It's just a different era. Like if I was a little bit younger, I would gravitate to him more. But the dude is undeniable. His skills is there. He can rap. He got flow. He can carry an album. He has a solid album. And his latest project was really, really good. And I feel like I'm gonna buy it off this. Like, I mean, having the whole Wu-Tang on there helps a lot.
Yeah. I mean,
I didn't expect that. I was expecting just like a cameo appearance from like 1 or 2. He literally had the whole clan. Well, and I was impressed by that.
Yeah, I thought it was dope. I mean, Richter was the one that had put me on Logic way back, and like he kind of explained it. He was like, yeah, Logic's smart because he does 2 types of albums. The first he'll do the Bobby Tarantino stuff, which is like your current sound trap, 808, that kind of stuff.
Let me correct myself. Bobby Tarantino, not the Sinatra. Sinatra is one of his homies he fools with. Excuse me.
So yeah, he'll do the Bobby Tarantino albums. That's like usually the 808s, the freaking trap stuff and all that. Mm-hmm. And it's more current to the sound. And then the Frank Sinatra stuff is more like the boom bap, like straight rhymes, his lyrics, spitting and stuff like that. And so like I've been more partial to the Sinatra stuff because I'm older. And so like this album I thought was actually really dope. It was cool that he had the whole Wu-Tang on it. He shouted out Mac Miller, RIPs, and but I thought it was a really solid album. I was just like, dude, this is pretty dope. He's like good production. Talking some good stuff, and like he got to introduce the kiddies to some group named Wu-Tang Clans. That was cool.
Mm-hmm. Seriously,
they're like, "Oh, who's this? Who these guys? This is a long song."
Seriously.
But yeah, one of my friends was like, "Yeah, it was cool." It's like, maybe I just have ADD now because the songs are hella long.
I mean,
that's the world we live in now. People just want shit to be super fast and short. Yep. So they can like get distracted by something else.
Yep, exactly.
Logic is like a new atmosphere, but on a different. He's not as emotional, but he has
I like Atmosphere.
Atmosphere was dope.
Yeah.
Especially when he did those projects with Murs.
Oh yeah. Tribute to Lisa Bonet and like Christina Ricci and stuff.
Yeah. So I mean that was like a real. Dude, I don't want to get back on my old head, but I'm gonna just say that was an era where like. It was kind of like this creative influx of art coming in because it was after the art golden era of rap. But I felt like it was just a really dope moment in time.
Yeah, I think I wish more of the younger artists would kind of understand that aspect of it. Like I thought it was kind of cool that 21 Savage did that album with Metro Boomin. It was just like all his beats and then him just 21 Savage rapping. I don't like either of them, but at least they kind of got that one rapper, one producer.
Yeah.
Same with
they tried.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's like same with like Prime with freaking Royce and Premier. Like that was dope. It's like, oh, one rapper, one producer. They did it out, Ninth Wonder was doing that with Talib, like you said. Atmosphere was doing that, and so I think a lot of the rappers, if they got like someone like a Yachty, who I still don't like per se, but I see why people like him, and he's smart. The one thing about Yachty that I gave him props is he can pick. He has the mutant power of Rick Ross, picking dope beats, and he knows how to collaborate with people. So I think if he collaborated with someone that was on that same realm, and that's all, like they just did one solid album, one rapper, one producer. Like I wish more younger producers would take that route as opposed to just trying to like a la carte.
Gangstar, Arrogant B and Rakim route.
Yeah, and it's not even about you don't have to sound like those dudes, but just having that consistency. Like there's too much. I think that was my thing with the Wayne album. Like to me, it wasn't consistent. It was like 20 something tracks and kind of all over the place. And there's no cohesiveness. Where Logic was probably half that, but it still felt like a full cohesive album, like from start to finish.
Yeah, that's true. Wayne's album is just more of like 22 tracks that don't tie into each other. There's nothing that like, and that's the one thing about albums I wish more artists would focus on. I always say this, like I want more like storytelling and like you don't have to make the whole album conceptual, but make it like maybe think back to a track before, like mention something, but it's not that way. It's not like they're going down writing a movie script.
Yeah,
they're in there and they're just coming up with words and trying to make sense of it to a certain beat.
Pretty much. I mean, and that's why it's like the with the rise of like the most of the quote unquote the littles and all that. It's like it's more, and you know, because that's SoundCloud based, because a lot of those rappers are single based. They're not like thinking of full albums, thinking about singles, single, and then they're like, oh shit, I got to put an album together. Well, let's just grab all the singles, throw them together, and then boom, that's your album. Where they're not thinking of a whole cohesive situation. And so the people that do that, that's when people label them as being boring or old or that kind of stuff.
It's true.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, for this last month, a lot of good projects is coming out. And one of my favorites is coming out. I'm biased, obviously, but Ghostface came out with a project.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to listen to Ghostface yet. Is it any good?
Right.
I'm not even acting Cam Square, so
go. I mean, I'm gonna say this though. Look, I put something on Facebook, and I said I ranked all the clan members from just albums, quality albums, and I put
easily Ghostface is number one.
Yeah,
number one, because I said I don't think he has a bad album.
Yeah,
even his BS project is actually really good.
Yeah,
and this latest project was no different.
Yeah, he's the most consistent out of the Wu camp. Like, even if his album is not quote unquote good, it's still solid. Like, it's a solid album.
Put it like this, man. The litmus test for me enjoying an album is like I literally shed a tear. I'm not gonna lie. When the Chronic 2001 came out, I was like, wow, this album is amazing. Like, this is from like real talk as a fan of music. When music really hits you, whatever it be, hip hop, jazz, whatever, it puts you in a special place that you just like, yo, this is. And if you are a music fan, you're gonna appreciate how the production is put together, the bars or whatever. And like Ghostface album, man, I'm like, yo, this dude, like he had like some clan members like Master Killer, going back to vintage Master Killer. He had E40 on there spitting. I was like, wow, you know what I'm saying? So Kendrick, the Pimp a Butterfly put me in that mode. And I felt like it was crazy. I was like, this album is really, really, really good. And it's one of the few albums that put me in a place where I'm just like, yo, this is Planet Asia killed it. I mean, he has a diverse group of MCs.
Even who else is on there? Oh, La the Doc Man was on there too.
Yeah. So,
it was
mean, like, again, I'm a Wu fan, so I'm gonna ride with it, but I will be critical on obviously other Wu members that projects are not up to par. But I have to say, man, Ghostface really put a quality album. Like I said, Lil Wayne, it's a good album. I can't hate on that album. Logic put a really good album out, like, and he's gonna make me revisit his previous work and give it a second opinion. And I'm gonna actually go back to listen to all the Carters. And
you know what's crazy? When you just mentioned Chronic 2001, I literally remember going to Virgin Megastore in Times Square in New York and buying Chronic 2001 and Lil Wayne's first album because they both like dropped on the same day. So it's kind of crazy. Like Lil Wayne been out for a minute, yo.
Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing too, is like, you know, I think odd choice, but Michael Rappaport was talking about how Ghostface been in the game for like what 20 some odd years, like 25 years or something like that.
93?
Yeah, and I was like, oh crap, that's right. And
technically 91.
Yeah,
like they had some underground stuff, but 93 is when they kind of came to light.
Yeah. But I think that aspect of it too, where it's just like, you know, being in the game with that long, with all these different studio albums, and still being able to come out with the album and be like, yeah, this is dope. And then you're like, oh shit, like this was like a solid album. Like it's great music, all that kind of stuff. I mean, and you know, Ghostface does random shit. Like he did that album with Bad Bad Not Good, which was super random, and it was like, I don't know, 3-4 years ago. And it was dope. It was like a fun album. It was like jazz and freaking Ghostface. I'm like, wait, what is this? I mean, but it was good, you know, and he had fun with it.
I'm not gonna get on my wax poetics with Ghost, but I think he had a renaissance moment when he hooked up with Adrian Young.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So,
but I think the you can hear he's, you know, he's older now, so you can hear his voice in that. But also you could tell that he still cares. Like that's my thing with the older rappers now. It's like
true.
It's like when they rap, you could tell if they care or not. Like, you know, when
because it's a young man's game. Like you're 100%. Not just you're not releasing music just to release it.
Yep, pretty much.
You're not trying to get out of contract. You just like, yo, this is what I love to do.
Yeah, and even like
David Ethan, Styles P.
yeah,
Like Styles P is still making music, man.
yeah, I think that's dope. And even like, cause like I wasn't a fan of Jay-Z's 444, but I could tell that like listening to it that he actually cares about rapping and still like enjoys it, you know. And I think that aspect of it for some of the older heads, they're not. Some of them are still into it, some of them are not. But then when they're on a track that they're actually into, like even Snoop sounded inspired when he was rapping with him at E40, where it's just like, you know, Snoop's lazy, he doesn't really do that. He's doing all like a million other things, not rap. But he didn't sound like it didn't sound like he was just phoning it in. He's actually like being Snoop, and like, he's actually enjoying, you know, doing a collabo with these dudes.
I'm waiting on. I want Snoop to really like. It's rare that you get like vintage Snoop.
True.
You're not gonna get gangbanging. Like I'm out to not gangbanging, but like that Snoop was like a vicious lyricist.
Yeah,
I haven't heard that Snoop, but in spots.
Yeah,
like he had an album like probably like 5-8 years ago, and it was the album where he had Stevie Wonder.
That was.
He had a track where he just gassed, and I was like, man, I ain't heard this Snoop since Doggy Style. You know what I'm saying?
Like who wrote this?
Yeah, like Snoop is, man. I just there's a part of me that thinks Snoop underachieved as like a lyricist. Like because I feel like he could do so much more. He was really versatile.
Yeah, but I think he like got too big too fast on the more of the simpler stuff. So once he, you know, kind of like what Inspector Deck was saying, he was like, I'm over here bomb atomically while all these other dudes are doing simple raps. If I would have known I could have just done simple raps, I would have just done simple raps, you know?
I
mean, Snoop always had the simple kind of words every now and again, but it was just he did have aggression and like wordplay. You know what I mean? Like he always been that county Count Dracula 1, 2. Like he's always had that in his flow.
But Snoop was slick, man. Snoop could have some work. Like young
slick
Snoop,
is probably a better word. You're right.
Young Snoop was aggressive. Like Ice Cube. Like we don't really talk about him as like one of the greats, but there was a point where Ice Cube held the crown. He was the best lyricist out. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and he was writing for a bunch of other people too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's the other thing too. It's like for the older heads nowadays, it's like I'm just curious to see who actually still cares. Like kind of like even with Eminem, like I like Eminem in singles but not in albums, but you can still see that he actually cares about rapping. Like he still likes to rap. Whether you agree with it or not, but at least he puts that effort in, and he's like, you know,
his last album, he attacking everybody that talked about him. So
yeah, and he was like, and he was on it. He was not like slacking, you know. So I think as the older, now that we're entering the phase where like the rap heroes are now in their 40s and slowly get into their 50s. Now it's going to be interesting to see how that keeps playing on. You know, are people going to age gracefully, or are they going to bow out, or you know, like what does that even look like? You know,
crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So there was a track on the Compton album where Snoop spazzed, Joe. I was like, yo, who the hell is this? Yo, I'm trying to look for a cam right now so I can tell you the name. But I was like,
sometimes goes bananas, and you like, whoa.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was him though. I was like, yo,
yeah,
what's wrong with Snoop? Like he went in. I said, yo, who woke him up?
I'm like, man,
I gotta find that track. Yo.
This murder was the case, Snoop. That's the Snoop.
Yeah.
16, 17. Yeah, I mean, I'm even looking it up. Like, Ghostface had 17 studio albums, now not counting Wu-Tang stuff.
And not one of them terrible.
And like, dude, that's kind of crazy, man. And like, literally from, you know, his solo was 96, but, you know, the Wu stuff, 93 and a little bit before that. But, so he's been doing music for a long time, man. That's crazy. Yeah, I think that's the part that, to me, the younger, I'm curious to see, you know, when we're in our 50s and we're like, are we still gonna be talking about, you know, Snoop and Ghost and all that kind of stuff? They're rapping in their 60s and stuff like that, or is it gonna be kind of like, oh, I remember that time? The time was fun.
Yeah, I think they will. I think it's gonna push it where these dudes are probably gonna be in Vegas having like a night, you know what I mean, like a yearly show, renting shit out. Because some rappers do go to Vegas and they have a certain month where they're performing at these locations. So
yeah, and they get paid.
They'll be around.
Yeah, and they get paid like so much money to do that shit.
But I don't think these new rappers, I don't know, man. Like Migos, like, are they gonna be around in 5 years?
I don't know. I'm not a fan of them, but I see the moves that they're doing now individually, and that's one of the things that's interesting. So now each one's slowly starting to do their own thing, which is basically the same thing, but at least individual.
Yeah.
But
what was the Migos of our time? Was it the Hot Boys?
The who?
The Hot Boys.
The
No.
Migos? Nah, I would say, you know what? I would say almost like a No Limit issue, if you want to go that way. Like the core No Limit, not like the 17 million offshoots. Like was it Silk the Shocker, Master P, and the other cat that was in jail? I forgot. BG.
C Murder? Oh, BG?
Yeah, BG and C Murder. Yeah, so it's like,
wait, wasn't BG was with Hot Boys, right? BG.
Yeah, BG.
Turk, Lil Wayne, Juvenile.
Oh, that was Hot Boys.
Wait.
They probably was them.
Because he did a song with Prodigy off the HNIC album. And I was like, I'm a fan. like I didn't like BG before, but he did stand out because of his flow. Because I was more of a juvie Lil Wayne dude. But BG, when he got I always loved it when dudes from different regions hooked up for music and made like something really random. You know what I'm saying?
I always thought that was dope. Like one of my favorite random remixes, hella hard to find. My friend had it on wax, was on a white label, was freaking Ghostface, not a Ghostface, ODB and E40 on the Shimmy Shimmy Y'all remix, which is hella hard to find. But if you hear it, it's freaking amazing. And it's so random because you're like, how did this even happen? But like that's the kind of stuff that I think that's awesome and then kind of cool. And I think that I'm curious to see I wish there was more inner collaborations with all the younger kids, because it's like, you guys are telling us that you guys are the new stuff, blah, blah, completely fine. Don't care about that. I'm old. But if you're not interacting with each other and doing those crossovers and lifting all you guys up at the same time, it's literally going to be crabs in the barrel. Slowly but surely, they're all just going to drop off once whoever dies from Xanax or another person dies from whatever and all that kind of stuff. Then you had that awkward moment with I didn't even watch the Hip Hop Awards, but I heard stuff.
Yo, I'm still thinking about the Migos. Would it be the Fugees?
No.
I'm just thinking about 3 people that came. It doesn't have to be 3, but I'm just thinking about people that came together. And granted, they haven't done anything single wise or away from each other album wise is what I meant. But the Fugees came to mind because like they were good as a group. They had the recognition as a group, and then when they split out, they still were able to like.
If you put it that way, yes.
That's the only way. Yeah, that's how I'm comparing them in terms of popularity.
Yeah,
that's true.
Because then,
I was thinking like
I can't say the lock.
I was thinking just gimmicky, not gimmicky, but just a style that wasn't as popular, but it was hot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Get him up? No.
You know what? I probably would say the Hot Boys then. Or like a combination of that.
Because not everybody liked the Hot Boys.
Yeah.
But you couldn't deny they was popular.
Yeah.
But then over time, it grew on me. Like I go back and I remember, what is it? 900 Degrees? 400 Degrees, whatever the album was by Juvie. And he had that one song, and back then, I mean, that was a movement from like the late 90s to the early 2000s, the Hot Boys, tall tees. It was
the late 90s, like right when Biggie and Pac passed. That's when it was wide open. DMX, we had like you had Jay-Z jumping on a remix with Juvenile, so you knew they were like making noise.
No, that's true. I think because I remember when I heard Ha for the first time, I thought that was a joke, like a parody song.
Me and Anthony were in tears.
I was like, you listen to it now, it goes.
It's 100%.
Obviously.
But also at the time, I was thinking about what I was listening to first, and then hearing that for the first time, and I was just like, "What is this?" Because it literally was different from everything else I was currently listening to.
Bro, when I first heard "Return of the Mac," I was like, "Yo, this is a joke." I couldn't stop laughing. But put on "Return of the Mac" today, I'm like, "Yo, that's my shit."
Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. What else? There's something. Yeah, Ha, definitely. When I heard that, I was like, "What is this, dude?"
Yo, same. I was like, "Yo, this is what they're doing down south."
Yeah,
it's one of those songs you hear a few times. It's like, I get it.
You know what it was? I put it in the same lump of like was it hay in the middle of the farm and like some other random Midwest like random stuff that was coming out at that time.
Yeah.
There's like a bunch of one-hit wonders that were just kind of coming out with stuff. And I was like, this is just like that, whatever. And then freaking Back That Ass came out, and then just freaking
Oh, that sounds crazy.
took over the whole nation for what?
For a full year, probably a full calendar year. And it's still known if you play it right now. People are like, oh shit.
Yeah. You can put just the beginning. If that just the intro comes in, all of a sudden chicks get crazy and just like go nuts.
Back That Ass Up was like the new version of the Luke Captain coming.
Yeah, true.
Right. And then the whole crowd of women, which is
kids don't know anything about Luke nowadays.
No,
Luke so long, they're gonna be like, what is that?
Well, I mean, even with like Ghost Town
like, that First Montana song?
Yeah, but even like Ghost Town DJs with my boo, I remember when I was DJing, this girl comes up to me, she's like, hey, can you play the Running Man song? I was like, what? And she's like, yeah, the Running Man song. I was like, I don't know what that is. She's like, you don't know what that song? That's like everyone knows that song. I'm like, no, I don't know it. I was like, this is what you do. Go Google what it actually is called and then come back to me. And she legit went to the corner, Googled Running Man song artist. And then
Cam, you was on your soapbox.
Yep, 100%.
literally, yo. Looking down at them too, yo.
Teach these devils. And then she came back to me. She came up to me and she was like, could you play
Ghost Town
My Boo by Ghost Town DJs? I was like, sure, no problem. I got you, girl. But again, people have short memories, and we are now officially old. Like, we've been listening to rap and all this stuff for now over 20 years, and we have those long memories. And now we're talking to people that are 21, 22, 23, 24. I had to explain to my old coworker, he's 23, what a freaking how important a soundtrack was in the 90s and early 2000s. And I was like, because he was talking about just back when the Black
Those are the golden days soundtracks, bro.
Exactly. And so I was telling him, because he was talking about the Black Panther soundtrack. He's like, yo, this is dope. It's like interesting mix of people. Da, da, da. I was like, oh yeah. It reminds me. I was like, it reminds me about.
Bob Cam showed up like,
Well,
actually.
What you need to do is look up Jersey Drive and Soul in the Hole. And I was like, hey, it's like the soundtracks back in the 2000s when they used to do da 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 da. And he was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, I forgot. He's 20. Like literally, he's 23, so he's like born in 20? He's born in 98, I think, or 99, something like that. So, but I was like, all right, go look up these names. And he looked up Jersey Drive, High School High soundtrack. Which one? Soul in the Hole, Fade to Black.
I have to say, let me
Street Fighter.
Soul in the Hole. Still one of the best.
Boomerang too.
Yeah.
And what's also interesting though is it's actually kind of hard to find because of the licensing and all that kind of stuff. So it's harder to find the full soundtracks, like on like a Apple or like a Spotify or all that have the full thing like as it used to be. Like you can find a couple of them, but a lot of them you can't. You have to either go on YouTube or something like that. But I was telling it, I was like, because I was like, Wu Wear, that's only on the High School High soundtrack. He was like, what's that? I'm like, Wu-Tang, Wu Wear. He's like, I never heard that track. I was just like, oh Lord. And like he went to go listen to it. He was like, yo, this track is awesome. Wait, I've never heard a song in my life. And I was like,
shit.
But that, back then, like you said, the soundtracks were dope. And even, those what was it? Have Plenty and Sprung. Like those are just, indie movies. Not many people watched it, but the soundtrack is dope. They had like, new artists. They have one-off tracks of other old established artists that you never heard, or, and they broke a lot of artists too, because that's how you would break new artists. As I was telling them, I was like, yeah, there's no SoundCloud, there's no hub for to break new artists, so they would use it on soundtrack. And even I think Outkast, their very first song is on a random ass like soundtrack or like a compilation album. It's not even
that's true. I'm like, the first time I ever heard Case was on Touch Me Tease Me with Foxy Brown and like Mary J. Blige, or was that Nutty Professor?
Oh yeah, whoo!
That song was fire, yo.
That was a dope soundtrack. But yeah, I mean that's how, and those soundtracks were kind of like how you got introductions to new music and people that you would never hear before, and then you would follow them later. Like I remember when, I don't know, I think it was like John B or something like that, and Babyface, and everyone thought it was just Babyface, and then they're like, nah, it's a white guy that sounds like him, and then he had his own career, just based off that one song.
And yeah, it was the one with Babyface. You're right. And he was with Tupac too. That helped him out.
Yeah, that's right. Yep, I
Yeah.
remember that too. He had the
Keep your head
SWV.
up. He was the one singing, but we never saw him in the video.
Yeah, yeah, right. And same with videos. Like videos are how you learn about new music.
Mhm.
And so,
Times have changed.
oh yeah, again, I'm like telling him this like as like a, it's like, and it was 100% a back in my day story. And
Wow.
he's like, and he started writing it down. He was like, okay, hold on. Let me write these like soundtracks down. He started doing like, he's like, oh, I found it on Wikipedia. It was pretty cool. And then this person was on that. And like, yeah, it hurts my heart, but it was also cool.
Reminiscent.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, and to his credit, like he's a younger kid and he stays up on current music, but he's also open to people like letting him know about stuff. And so like he would be like so that's why I gave him a lot of credit because he would ask me about people, and if I didn't know them, I would actually he'd give me some recommendations, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna listen to him. I'm like, oh, okay, it wasn't for me, but I see what you're talking about, and vice versa. And so it was actually pretty dope because I was telling him, I was like, yeah, not a lot of the younger kids aren't necessarily into that, but I'm glad that you're at least curious to hear other stuff, whether you like into it or not or whatever,
Yeah.
So I gave him a lot of respect for that because, like, a lot of kids are just. I think the lack of curiosity is what is different now than before. Like before, I would listen to the Dr. Dre's album, and then I would look at the liner notes, and I would go find out those samples. Oh man, now I learn about funk or jazz or this person or that person, and now you don't really have that level of curiosity. Like it's there, but it's not as deep, even though they have more access to information now.
Yeah, I mean, we both have to as much as we want to make sure the youth understands that our history is just as important and recognize, we also have to be more adept to being open to listening to music because we'll miss some good stuff. We'll miss some gems. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, no, that's definitely true. My old Padawan, I called her at BET. She's 25. And so she would always challenge me to listen to the new music, just at least one go round, like listen to a full albums. That got me listening to like 21 Savage, listening to Yachty.
I do the same thing. I try. I'm like, let me see if anything catches my ear.
Exactly. You know what? It's like as Cam has coined the phrase, you gotta be a well-informed hater. And so I would listen to Lil Uzi Verts, and I would like actually sit down and listen to Amigos album, and then it got me to a point where I'm like, all right, now I know some of this stuff is not for me. Some of it is like, say for instance, did you guys listen to the new Travis Scott album?
Yeah. No, I haven't. Okay, so I keep hearing this album is super fire, and I'm slowly getting around to it because I don't have any hatred towards Travis Scott, but I keep hearing that this album is up there.
Yeah,
exactly.
Honestly,
stop.
When I listened to it,
word lit. Yeah.
I thought it was weird because when I played it, I was like, yo, is this a new song? Like it blended so crazy for a few tracks. I was like, yo, is this still the same song? Like I had to take my phone out and be like, oh, okay, this is a new song, or this is the same song. Like it's decent. It's not whack, but I don't know. He's not really saying anything, yo.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I realized that I'm okay with it and accepted it already. I'm just like I think him, Future, and like
Jesus Christ. I saw Future in Vegas. I wanted to kill myself, yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like him and Future and Amigos are kind of the kind of watershed moment of the current state of rap, And then you have chameleons like Drake that kind of just take what he needs and kind of keeps it moving like that.
Yeah.
So but I think I'm not a Travis Scott fan. Like I just can't. I try. I listen to it.
Yeah, singles every now and again. I rock with.
Yeah, I'm like listening to it. I'm just like, nah, man. Like I see what you did with Kanye and some of the good stuff you did, but in general, I'm just like, that's not for me, dude. I'm like, I'm cool. I'm accepting it. I'm accepting of it now, and just being like, I can move on now.
I hear that. Man, I don't know. It's like I said, it's been a good month for music. I'm not mad at the projects that these people or these new artists or these artists of now are putting out. But it was a moment where I was just kind of on a break from music. But right now it's been really good. I mean, I wish we had our fourth member here. We have a small debate going about where Jadakiss ranks in the pantheon of all-time greats.
Yeesh.
And our panel member, Ant, who is a huge Jadakiss fan, is claiming that he's a top 10 spitter. And put a gun to my head. I said, no, he's not. He's a respected MC, no doubt, his history. But I know I can think of 10.
Oh yeah, easily off the top of the head. But I think also too, I mean, of course it's subjective and blah 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 blah. But like in general, I think it just really really depends on what the criteria is for that. I think a lot of times even either coast will be very leaning left or right. Whether if you're on New York, you're going to be very heavily on the New York situation. You're on the West Coast, you're going to be very heavily on the West. Like there's like the biggest difference I learned from living in both coasts was like a lot of West Coast people would listen to a lot of New York just as much as the local stuff. I think a lot of the East Coast people didn't listen to like the rest of the region as much. So it's like I would say in the Bay Area in terms of like music wise, we listen to all the stuff that was coming out of New York plus Bay Area stuff and have that in the same realm. Where like,
but is that because New York sees themselves or the East Coast sees themselves as the gatekeepers?
Yep, 100%, 100%. I definitely believe that. I think that's like it's like that. That's where it all kind of came from. And so when you look at it from that aspect, you're not going to give as much credence to people that were making as much noise or influencing it in other places. Like you'll respect it, but you're not going to put them on the same level. So like Ant saying Jadakiss is like top 10 spitter, no one else in the rest of the country is gonna be like, yeah, that makes sense. They're gonna be like, I don't know,
like,
man.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Like
they're gonna be like, yo, Bun B's better than Jadakiss.
There you go. Or they'll say like T.I. or something, or they'll put in like Big Boy or something like that. Like people that you think are solid, but not necessarily a crazy top 10, but then they would put it in the same level. That's how I look at Jadakiss. I'm like, oh yeah, Jadakiss is dope, but I wouldn't put him in like top 10 of all time. Top 25, top 50, sure, why not? But there's definitely other MCs that have influenced and put a greater impact on that level.
Yeah, most definitely. Because I was telling our compatriot that MF Doom is a better spitter than Jadakiss.
Easily.
Pure lyricism.
Yeah, easily.
I was like, you couldn't tell me any less. And he was, we had to convince him that Andre 3000 is the top 10 all-time spitter. Yeah. In my opinion, I think he is, man. He's dropped. Yeah. I mean, because what was the criteria?
With me, I feel like for you to make my top 10, you need to have a solo album.
Yeah,
granted.
I gave him the exception.
You could give. I'm not going to argue that, but for my top 10, I need you to have a solo piece of work for you to make my list.
I hear that.
Yeah, I mean that's actually is a very solid. And to that effect, though, someone like Dre, where they had a double album and it's literally 2 solo albums put together. But you're right, having a solid I think you're right, having a full solid album like we're talking about is like KRS-One. When we had that conversation with KRS-One, and like I don't think KRS-One is in top 20 personally, but that doesn't discount the impact that he's had on people that are in the top 20, And so
don't you ever disrespect the Bronx like that again.
But that's what I'm saying. So it's like there's always interesting weird criteria, and then on top of that, this is all old heads talking that because now we are all old because we're over 30.
Crazy.
Yeah, we're like that's really I didn't really like put that point until I started to, like I said, talk to my younger coworker who's like 23 and like how he looked at music. And to his credit, again, he had a lot of good stuff. But one of the reasons
he's not the norm though. So
no.
you're talking to one of the good ones.
Yeah, exactly.
He's an outlier.
Exactly.
Yeah, seriously.
He definitely is. And the reason why the funniest part was the reason why me and him got cool because he said some like outlandish shit where he was like, I think it was a Christmas party for the company, and we're at the bar, and he was just like, Kanye West is one of the most influential rappers in hip hop, and the bartender was like across the way, and he was like, bullshit.
I mean, to his credit, he's the most influential to this era.
Exactly, and that was the conversation that we started to have, and so like I was laughing because the bartender literally came over, took the dude's drink away. He's like, all right, explain yourself. He's like, I'm gonna give you this back if you give me a coherent argument. And he gave him a solid argument. He's like, all right, continue. But again, but then again, if you think about it, and then that's when I started to really think about generations, where it's like, there's a whole generation of people that only see Eminem as like an OG because he came in that 99, 2000 realm. And so they started listening to rap around that aspect. This kid's 23. He's been listening to hip hop for 10 years. That's 2008, 2007. So he was, you know what I'm saying? Like he's been listening to hip hop for the last 10 years. And
yeah, he's like
early.
Kanye,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that when he started saying that, that's when I really started to take a step back and really think about the generations of how rap is looked at. Because again, we're older, so we started in the 90s, going all the way up to now. But you have a whole set of kids that started in the 99, 2000s, and another set of kids that started in the 2005, 2006, 2007. And now you're right. That's the Kanyes and all that. And then that made me realize even more why people get really upset about Kanye, because they put him on a level of like we would put a Jay-Z or a Biggie or a Tupac or a Wu-Tang Clan, Freestyle Fellowship or whatever those type of are like rap heroes. Like a lot of people, Kanye's in that same realm because that's the generation that they grew up in. Where when Kanye came out, we're just kind of like, oh yeah, it's that one producer guy, right? Oh, he's okay. And then he got good. We're like, oh, he's kind of good. That's dope. No, good for him.
Oh, he can rhyme. That's not
exactly.
bad.
No, exactly. It's like, oh, good for him. Where other people are like, yo,
another album? Okay, this is okay.
Yeah. Where other people are just like, yo, he's dope, talking about some real stuff and blah blah blah. I'm like, oh yeah, that producer, he's not that bad. He got some bars. People write for him. That's cool. I think he hangs out with Consequence or something.
Yeah, straight up.
but I told this story before, but like when I was at BET, hip hop awards conversation or whatever, and one of the interns was talking about his top 5, and his top 5 was Kanye, Jadakiss, so take it back, Kanye, Lloyd Banks, freaking who else he said random? It was like Big Sean. It was Kanye, Big Sean, Lloyd Banks. And then he said, he said like a Jay-Z or whatever, like some like 2 people that are really obvious. But it was super interesting because and again, he's 20, been listening since he was 11. So in his mind, Big Sean is almost an OG now. Same with, which is crazy. And and it's funny because I heard him out as opposed to just automatically like berating him, and I was just like, holy shit, that actually makes a lot of sense. Like if you've only been listening to hip hop for the last maybe 5 to 7 years. Big Sean has like 4 or 5 albums that were all like, platinum and tons of hits and this and that. And like, I can kind of see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same with where J. Cole, like J. Cole fans are super interesting because they really like that guy.
It's true. Somebody was like telling me about J. Cole the other day, and I was like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, like he's good. He just, he's boring. But that's because you were like, okay, cool. But a lot of people there that they grew up with J. Cole is their dude,
It's true. Let somebody say Slick Rick, they're gonna be like, who's that? So page, yo.
It's like, yeah, I heard the Ice Cube. He's kind of boring.
You're like, what?
but I'm trying to, and I've actually gotten to a better place where I'm trying to look at it from a holistic standpoint. So instead of being more negative, I'm more like listening to it and then showing it as opposed to, and sharing information as opposed to being like, but these kids, blah, 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 as opposed to be like, well, check this person out. Check this person out. Tell me what you think. And that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it, to be honest.
Yeah. It's, it's got to be positive. And it's like,
yeah, exactly.
I'm still not going to like Travis Scott or freaking Lil Uzi, but at least
you listen to give it a chance.
And if someone listens to something to the I have a good friend that's in he's like a VP at this software company, and like he's our age, and his underlings, they're like associates or whatever, like they're talking rap stuff, and he was schooling all of them because he grew up in the Bay and the rap scene or whatever. So now he's like their rap guru. So they'll come to him and be like, all right, so what should I listen to this week? And he's all right, take this, and this. Come back, let's discuss at the end of the week. And they'll have lunches where they talk about rap music, and he'll just school them on certain stuff, and like he'll ask them their opinions. I'm like, that's freaking dope. Like I wish that would actually be a better show just to kind of like have that bridging of the gap, of the younger to the old.
That's what's up, man. We got it. I don't know. I think we're in a good place right now, man. Music is it's not making a comeback per se, but it's just like I have no beef with like the state of culture. Yes, we still do some ratchet shit from time to time, but for the most part, I'm kind of content. You know,
Yeah.
good music
You know
gonna
what's
come
crazy
out,
about
man.
music though? We're never gonna get like that. Those Michael Jackson moments. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
yo, you got to be at home at 8 o'clock. This video is premiering.
Yeah.
You know, like those days are gone. That's the only thing
Yeah.
that kind of
Yeah.
sucks about
Nah.
music. And I do miss the physical part of literally going to a store, picking up a CD, coming home, putting the CD in, or driving home with the CD on, and like listening to it and like not doing anything else but doing that.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah. I mean,
that's the only thing.
I was actually saying the same to talking to my girl, talking about that. I was like, when Michael Jackson would release a video, it's like an event. Like it's prime time, 8 p.m. Everyone goes home and watches, whatever channel it's going to be on. It's going to be a 30-minute video, maybe 2 songs. Like everyone stopped what they were doing. They all focused on watching this one specific time and moment.
What was the one? Black and white. He literally that was like a it was
Black
like
and white. Remember the
Yo!
time?
No, not black and white. It was remember the time one where he had all those faces, right? Or what was the one he had?
No, it was black and white. Black and white.
Black and white. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
That was like right. That was like
right.
primetime TV.
Yeah,
Same with Remember the Time.
Yep,
Yeah.
I remember
Came
that.
on Sunday at like 8 p.m. Yo.
Hey, so okay, this goes out to the Table of Truth fans out there. There's a thread on Twitter about Remember the Time and how disrespectful Michael Jackson was in that video. If you guys go find it, if you guys find it, I think it's the most hilarious thread. Also, I want to segue. There's another thread that came out in 2015 about what's her name, Zola.
Oh yeah, Zola, yeah.
Oh my God! For anybody that's familiar with this story, this was a story about a girl, a stripper, and her pimp, and it was done in 140 character days, and it was the most wildest story I ever heard on Twitter. And they finally gonna make that into a movie, and it's getting the backing of what is it, A24 Studios? I think.
Yeah. No, it's the Twitter the Twitter thread. But yeah, I think that's the aspect of it where it's like my girl, she doesn't listen to rap at all. She has no concept of it. She doesn't know who's who, what's what, like nothing, none of that. And so if she does know about it, it's because it was the bigger event stuff. Like it was a moment in time that everyone knew. It's like pop culture level, like all the underground shit that we're talking about, no idea. Anything that was like on a big scale, humongous stuff, yeah, of course. That's like the bigger things. But I think, there's not really too many musical moments where like everyone's listening to the same thing at the same time. Like maybe even in the last like couple years, Jay-Z's 444, maybe Kendrick's albums. There's a couple other people, but like in general, you're not gonna have those moments anymore where like every single person that's into music is listening to a particular rap album at a particular time and all discussing it at once,
Yeah.
I think those days are kind of gone, but this has been a crazy ass year for just like rap music in general and hip hop and all that kind of stuff, which is actually dope. And there's so many good albums out. Like you can actually be like, oh yeah, I've been listening to this and this and that, and they're all new stuff and not just getting stuck in our old stuff that we always retread to when we were like
annoyed. Just oldies.
Yep.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, dude. I'm like, even where I live now, like they have a quote unquote oldie station, and it's all 90s and 2000 R&B.
Nice, yo.
So they're like, oh yeah, one something from way back. It's Casey and JoJo. All my life.
It's As Yet, last night.
What?
As Yet, wow.
And actually, you know what? And it's comedy because they the same radio station, they do a night, they have a club or whatever that's free, whatever, on Fridays. And like I went to it, and like all the same music that I like R&B, and like I hit like hip hop, but like particularly the 90s and early 2000s stuff. And that's stuff I like to play when I get a chance to do it. It's fun, whatever. If I'm in New York City, I can do that, and people my age would listen to it and enjoy it, and we'd all like have fun and dance and sing along, whatever. But being here in more of a suburbia situation at that club, everyone that was there was literally 40 to 50. Like It was all older people still listening to the same music, but it was just so interesting because I'm like, the people watching was amazing, but it just like in New York City, it would be, 35 to 40, 39-ish people. All, oh man, I remember this when I was in middle school and high school. This was so much fun. But like now you have people and like I'm going to the club here and I just went there and I'm like, yo, everyone is legit in their mid 40s.
I guess you never visit Club Shadow in New York, Cam, because
no, on purpose.
The same crowd.
That and Sugar Hill. I was like, no, thank you.
I got one time. It was like, yo, we're having a party at Shadow. I was like, all right, yo, I showed up. I said, yo, what night is this? What's going on here? Why is everybody like 55? Yo, this is Shadow every night. Yeah. Keep in mind, I'm in my early 20s. I said, yo, they set me up, yo. I ain't never coming back here, yo.
Yeah, but I mean, I laugh because I'm like, in my head, I'm like, it makes sense that that's the type of crowd that would be there because that's the music. But again, because in New York, I'm more around people exactly my age or younger. And if I play that type of music, they appreciate it, not realizing that I really am playing older music, which again is high school, that kind of stuff. So everyone when I'm a freshman and everyone that was a senior and they're like, 94 or whatever, 95, they're in their 40s or mid 40s. So it makes sense that when they hear an oldies night of 2000s and 90s music, of course they're going to come out,
That's true. Yeah.
So yeah, that was a kind of a culture shock to me, right? And then, I mean, the people watching was amazing, but it was just like,
I believe it.
It just reminded me that like, because I'm not that much younger than them, and they were still enjoying the same type of music that I would. But it was just the first time I had been in the spot where like, oh shit, everyone here is literally 10 years older than me. Where I'm always the oldest person, and it was just like an interesting difference.
Yeah.
Alexa, play "It Feels Good."
there was a place like that in San Jose called the French Quarter, and that was for like the 40s, 50s crowds. And it was, I remember when you were bored in college and there was no other place to go, and you went over there and you're like, man, never again. Never again.
Yeah, you're like, you know what? I'm gonna go study.
So all the single,
skate.
all the single moms out there in their late 40s.
But out to all the gray foxes out there.
Cool. Yep. Yeah, exactly. All right, let's wrap this up and we'll do some final words. Dwayne, you want to go first?
God damn it. Yeah, I never have a final word these days, but I just want to say flu season is upon us. I never get the flu, but I feel like this shit might be the flu. Yeah, not gonna work for real, yo. So I got my zinc, my vitamin C, my water. I don't believe in them flu shots, yo. So people, wash your hands. Oh, yeah, exactly. Wash your hands. I work in IT, so I got to touch people's keyboards. Wash your goddamn hands. Stop coughing out there. Keep your station clean, man. Because if I'm sick, I'm going to be upset, yo. So lesson of the day, wash your hands, drink your orange juice, take your vitamins. Now I sound like Hulk Hogan. But you know what I mean, man.
Yeah. Keep your station.
Yeah. Keep your stations clean.
Cam, final word.
I'm playing fantasy, and my final word is fantasy sucks right now from your boy, and I'm excited that my Lakers are relevant again, and we're playing right now. As we're drafting, I'm in the middle of a draft, so yeah, that's my final word, man. Fantasy sucks. Don't get involved. Just watch from afar. It's not worth your emotions.
Nice.
Too much pain.
Yo, I give you. Let me add on to this. I told Dwayne this. I was so tight. I lost a match. My girl kissed me on my forehead. I was pissed. Like I was super tight.
Got consolation prize.
That just made it worse, yo.
Worse, B.
Got consolation prize.
Yeah. I had another final word about dogs and snakes, but I'll say that for the next podcast.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, my final word is I watched Venom today, and it was not a good movie, but it was an entertaining movie. And but it also reminded me because I had also watched Mission Impossible, and that was actually a really entertaining movie, and it was actually fairly good too. Like it was solid, but I think I actually enjoyed watching it because it was a good escape from the realities of today, which is pretty heavy of lately. And I think that I embrace more movies like that where it's a good break from reality. You just kind of have fun, go in, watch it. You're not expecting an Oscar moment, but you're not expecting anything crazy. You're just like, yo, I can be entertained. I got some popcorn. I can leave. It's forgettable, but at least I don't feel like I waste my time. Where I kind of just turn the brain off, enjoy it, and then keep it moving. So I think it's not a bad thing to watch movies that are just the popcorn movies and getting back to that and being okay with that, where we don't have to have every movie has to be super epic or every movie has to be an Oscar contender. You know, you can just.
One of my coworkers broke it down that way. She was like, "Well, that's a movie like what you're describing," and then say like The First Man. She's like, "Well, that would be considered a film." So I'm like, and then the way she broke it down, I'm like, that is the way it should be described.
Yeah, you know, like
Yeah,
like and again, like I know film and I understand the breakdowns of everything, so I can if I really wanted to, I could tell you how bad the pacing was, or this was wrong, or this, or yada yada yada.
But it's not made for that crowd.
Exactly.
What you're saying,
and like it was one of those things where like I went in, I watched it, I laughed a little bit, it was funny, had some good action, great CG, and at the end of it, I was like, oh, all right, this is cool, and then I didn't feel like I wasted my time. I think I'm glad that type of a movie existed and it came in the right time, because it's like, literally right now there's so many different hardcore things that are happening from top to bottom that you could easily rifle off. Like we could easily have made a really sad and depressing podcast right now where we're like, no, we're gonna talk about music. We're gonna be a little bit lighter. Like you guys can watch the news for all the depressing shit.
Seriously.
Yeah. That's my thing. Sometimes you just gotta turn your brain off, go watch some fun stuff, and enjoy your life, as opposed to dwelling on all the darkness that's been coming out of lately.
Facts.
Yep. But yeah, man, that's good, guys. I like that. It was good. That's fun.
All
right, man. Well, this is the Table of Truth, and we are out.
Peace.
You can listen and download to all of our episodes of The Table of Truth on iTunes. Just search The Table of Truth podcast.